All right, Patrick. Over the weekend, and the Vikings have already interviewed for sure one of these, but over the weekend, this is the official list of the 7 head coaches. Now they may add to the list. We'll see.
Can I ask you guys a question? Why are they telling us who they're interviewing?
They did. I
I
think
mean,
they did that. They've done that before, haven't they?
that is very un-Viking like, I think, isn't it? Am I wrong?
I think the league requires you after you conduct the interview to
Okay.
announce it because everyone has the same like background Twitter thing that they put out, so it looks like a formula the league mandates.
Okay, so that way they want to make sure that the public knows you are following their
Yeah,
protocols as far as
probably
interviewing the minorities and
the
things.
Rooney Rule. Yeah,
Okay. It is hilarious though. Like they've got these all like these photoshopped graphics and stuff. And I said yesterday they should make the same announcements for all of their open positions. You know, if you have like an assistant
Yeah.
accountant position,
Yes.
Gary is interviewing today for the Vikings assistant accounting position. It's just a photo of Gary with his waving.
Associated Bank.
It's funny that a league that tries to cover up so many things does not.
Yeah.
But let's say this that before we get in this list of coaching candidates, Judd and I agreed on this yesterday, and I'm sure you agree, Phil. Phil, I want a general manager to tell me who he wants to be the coach. I don't want the Andrew Miller, the business guy, and Brzezinski, who might want the job, and a couple other guys out there interviewing. I want the general manager to get hired and then go hire the coach he wants.
Yeah.
Now,
I agree. I think what I told Judd was I think part of this is you can't just let these head coaching candidates sit there for 3 weeks and not at least reach out and flirt a little bit and say, hey, Nathaniel Hackett, we see you. We like you. We're going through our GM process. Let's hop on a Zoom and just make a connection,
And why do we like Nathaniel Hackett? Is he actually calling the plays or not?
He is not currently calling the plays.
Okay, so we get mad at other coaches who aren't calling the plays, but for some reason, because this guy's getting interviewed anywhere else. If it comes down to you or Jacksonville, I got a hunch you got a chance to get him, but I don't know why he's a hot thing. Anyway,
well,
I interrupted you so rudely.
No. Well, because I've just read and watched enough on Nathaniel Hackett that I think he's really interesting. So it impresses me more. Like these guys who are associated with Adam Gase was Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator, right? And I like Byron Leftwich, but he's handcuffed to Tom Brady. Nathaniel Hackett squeezed a top half of the league offense out of E.J. Manuel and Kyle Orton in Buffalo, and he got Blake Bortles to the NFC Championship game as an offensive coordinator in Jacksonville. Like that, so that's interesting, and a lot of these Packers players like David Bakhtiari and Aaron Rodgers rave about him. So some of it is like if you ask the opposing team's fans and players, how would you feel if this guy left? And they would be devastated by him leaving. That's an interesting sign, you know? Like when Clint Kubiak gets an interview with the Carolina Panthers, Vikings fans aren't like, oh my God.
No. We should have kept Can we just hire him to script that first series and then tell him to leave the stadium? Just drop off your list every day and then every Sunday and then leave. Okay?
Yeah, just drop off your report every. So, all right. So I'm going to give you 7 names. Just tell me which ones stand out. So Todd Bowles is interviewing on Friday. Nathaniel Hackett already did. Dan Quinn is on the Vikings list. 49ers defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans. Kellen Moore. Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, who was also a Vikings assistant a few years ago. And then Rams offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell.
Number 7 on that list is Dan Quinn. He's last. I wouldn't give him an interview to save my life. I watched him kick away a Super Bowl in incredible fashion and then see his whole franchise go completely in the toilet with Matt Ryan as his quarterback. So I would not have him on that list. You're throwing out assistant names that it really tough for me to say. This O'Connell guy from the Rams kind of interests me because I've seen some things about him, and he kind of interests me. But I really do think you're throwing it at a. So they don't have Bieniemy on their list, right?
There so far, no Bieniemy, no
And
Leftwich.
no
We don't
Leftwich.
know really about Doug Peterson. They may have already had a conversation, but they don't.
Mhm.
They can. He's not employed by anyone, so
I don't know. Let's, as I say, I want, what I want? No collaboration. All they're talking about is collaboration. I want the collaboration to be this. Ozenfort or whatever his name is. Here's the roster. Coach him up, buddy. I am.
Make it work.
We have a scouting staff that you pay tens of millions of dollars to evaluate. You spent ungodly sums of money to evaluate, and then you got Zim in there. Don't give the coach, say, yeah, we'll listen to your thoughts, but you're going to take who we give you. I am big on the Ron Wolf style general manager from 30 years ago who tells the Packer coaches, here's your roster, and it's pretty damn good, so win. I'm all in on a powerful general manager.
Dictatorship.
here's the groceries.
You want a dictatorship?
Cook me a
Yes.
meal.
Do what I say and shut up and go coach them.
I wish we had a general manager with the cojones when Spielman came in after Daniel Carlson's second game. I mean, when Zimmer came in, get the bleep out of my office.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I sign them, you play them. You figure out how to play them. If you don't want to play one of my guys, I'm not going to tell you can't, but there's a good chance you'll get fired. But I want an all power. That league gives way too much personnel influence to coaches, I think, and other leagues don't. But Bill Guerin, who do you think he's telling Dean
You
Evison?
think he tells Dean Buzz off?
This is your guys, Dean. Do your best with them. If you whine, tough bananas. I think that's the way to go. I really do. And that's this whole collaboration thing. Every time we've had the trifecta of authority, it turned into a disaster. And now we had that duo of authority, and that turned into a disaster where they apparently weren't even talking to each other.
How about that?
I want a dictatorship where the coach has to call up and ask the general manager for a meeting.
How about months, Patrick, where they didn't talk? Just the GM and coach.
Do you think that's true, though?
I think they didn't have
I don't trust
conversation
Dion.
of substance.
I don't trust Dion as a source. I'm sorry.
I mean, but I think Dion's parroting what Zimmer told him.
Yes, but he could have misinterpreted it.
Well, I think they talked. I don't think that they had any conversation of substance.
Or exaggerated. But there's obviously, he didn't make it out by the whole cloth. And there's obviously that they were not getting along. And I think the reason they weren't getting along is halfway through the season, Spielman was saying, he's gone. I got to save my ass if possible. I'm not even going to be seen in the same room with him and say, I don't know what he's doing.
I'm trying to envision, because by all accounts and reports, there was strong consideration, if not even a flat out offer to Rick at one point to just shift somewhere else. And then somewhere over the weekend, 2 weekends ago, they decided, let's just get rid of both of them. And so Rick shows up on Monday thinking, all right, we're going to fire Zimmer today. This is going to be great. No, actually, Rick, why don't you sit down here?
I think it's all PR. I think, as I've said that 5 times, that I think that somebody in one of the Wolves or maybe the young one, somebody said, hey, the fans are going to rip you just as bad. If you fire Zimmer and keep Spielman, it's not going to advance the image to the public. They want a clean house. And Spielman, a lot of people give Spielman more of the blame for this mess than they give Zimmer, and they might be right. So how can you keep Spielman?
Yeah.
Plus, what general manager you're going to hire? And they say, oh, by the way, you're going to have to talk to Rick once a week and see what he thinks, just to make him feel like he's part of the operation.
Can you imagine?
That figurehead crap doesn't work. That's like when my friend Jerry Kill wanted to be the liaison with the president for Tracy Claeys. Remember, go over the AD's head and
mop that ass.
That that don't work?
Well, it's one thing if you're Denver and John Elway is the one that you're
Yes.
moving into that role, and it's like, hey, you're going to be the new GM, George Payton, and you don't have to report to him, but like you can tap John Elway's brain for information because he's John Elway, right?
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to figure out a way to get Peyton back here. But
Wow.
I don't think you can. I think he signed a 5-year contract, and he's about to talk to Dan Quinn, so you might not want him back.
no, I do not want him.
He supposedly likes Dan Quinn.
I feel like you guys are too. Dan Quinn had a 25-point lead in a Super Bowl.
Yes, he did.
All right,
That's the problem.
The Vikings have not been anywhere near a Super Bowl in quite some time. So.
And if they indeed had rallied from that and been competitive the next 3 years, then I'd say okay. But they went in the toilet, and they had the same roster. And the next year they went in the toilet. They stayed there for about 3 years. So how about who's going to be available? Kingsbury.
Yeah.
I think he'll be. Have you ever seen a team go in the tank like that team? They were one out of their last 6, right?
Did you see? I retweeted this last night. So it's not just this year, and it's not just the Cardinals. Action Network dug this up. Cliff Kingsbury's end to the season as a head coach. So this year they lost 5 of 6. Last year they lost 5 of 7. In 2019 they lost 7 of 9. And then in the 6 previous years, here's how they finished the seasons at Texas Tech. Lost all of their last 5, lost 6 of 8, 6 of 8, lost 4 of 6, 4 of 6, lost 5 of 6.
He must lose the locker room a little bit at the end. Huh? I'm still shocked he got the job in the first place. I mean, based on what? The Texas
He got
Tech?
fired at like a middling Big 12 school and fell into an NFL job.
Yeah,
very
but
weird.
Kent Sommers, who's been covering football down there, Judd, for 40 years.
40, yeah.
He just buried him today. He just buried the whole operation today. I saw a piece of his in the paper down there. And his last line was something about changing the coach. It's changed. So that was a collapse of monument. But the quarterback. I've been telling you guys since he threw those 2 interceptions against the Vikings and tried to give him a chance to win that game. He is way overrated because he makes incredible number of stupid plays. There was awful throws.
There's reports too that he's just kind of a loner. He's not the most. And there was a great moment. I was watching the Manning cast last night, and so Russell Wilson came on in the second half, and so it's the beginning of the fourth quarter. The Cardinals are down by 20. And Russell Wilson is on the Manning cast saying, all right, if I'm the quarterback here, I'm going up and down the sideline, reminding everyone, this game's not over. Let's go, you guys. You got to believe the game's not over, right? And perfect timing. They cut to a shot of Kyler Murray. And he's just sitting on the bench, staring at the ground, pouting. I think he's he's kind of a front runner.
So I got a question for you guys. I was thinking about this after we talked about Les Frazier wanting Russell Wilson because he had him in the Super Bowl, but we already had Christian Ponder. What would the Viking history for the last decade be if they'd listened to Les and ended up with Russell Wilson? Would they have won a Super Bowl?
You know what? No, because the problem is this. It would have started out in that first training camp. Les and Rick would have fought about the starter. And so, because
would have been obvious after
Seattle, but they deserve complete credit. They signed Matt Flynn to that huge contract.
Yes.
And in training camp said, you know what, buddy? You ain't that good. And this guy's really good.
You know what that was? That was ballsy.
It was ballsy.
Well, Seattle was also like their roster, I think, was in a better spot. So let's play this out. So Russ gets drafted in 2012, let's say, by the Vikings. Mm-hmm. And I'm with Pat, like maybe they fight over who's the quarterback. But by the time 2012 gets halfway over in 2013, Russell Wilson's the starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. But then I think 2013 plays out fairly similarly because Russell wasn't ready to like take over the reins yet. Yeah. He was kind of along for the ride. So the question is, do they still fire Frazier? I think the answer is yes. Do they still hire Zimmer? I think the answer is yes.
Do you think so? Okay.
And then Zimmer gets Russell Wilson instead of
And
the
then he
multitude
starts
of
saying,
quarterbacks that he
we
had.
got to run the ball more often,
Yeah.
Russ.
And the Seahawks have done that.
And Wilson's,
You know,
Yes,
and,
that's true.
and Wilson's largely in some ways mentally a product of Pete Carroll being so positive. Like
Yes.
that environment is the 180 of what Zim encouraged,
But-
which was sit down, shut up, and go bleep yourself. So
But when you watch Russell Wilson, there hasn't been a hell of a lot to be non-positive about.
no, I'm
That's
saying
what
but the whole thing.
Yes.
The Vikings could have
you're
bleep
saying there's
this
like
stuff.
a bizarro Russell Wilson out there that if he were to have
I'm
been
saying-
drafted by the Vikings,
I'm saying never underestimate.
he'd be like Jay Cutler.
Never underestimate the ability of the Vikings to self-sabotage things that went well elsewhere.
You
That's
know,
all I'm
everybody
saying.
always says Russell only won one Super Bowl, but he actually won two. And then somebody had him make the dumbest
Darrell Bevell,
goal line
our
play
guy.
in the history of football.
Yeah.
Bevel?
Yeah,
Our guy
Bevel
called
called
that
that play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dumbest
worst
play.
play call
Otherwise,
until Kellen Moore.
He won two Super Bowls, but Bevel lost one for him.
Darrell Bevell has been the offensive coordinator overseer of maybe the two most boneheaded postseason plays in the last 15 years, right? The 12 men into the Favre across the
Yes.
body,
Yeah.
and then not handing
Until
it off
Sunday.
to Marchand.
Until when Kellen Moore said, "We got to run the football."
Yeah.
Let's
Let's
let
run
that
quarterback
run.
sneak.
I think he's out of the picture, don't you? You can't hire a 33-year-old kid who called that game. I don't think so.
I'll let Declan fight you here if he wants to. Declan's
Declan's
not out on Kellen Moore yet. But
I'm not
we-
out. No,
we
Pat.
are.
No way.
Yeah, smug little SOB. That's what we need.
Just
We
like
need
me.
We need another one of those. Does he
Oh,
run down
man.
the sidelines to beat the team down to the other end, or does he?
No, he's clenching his teeth the entire time with his play card in front of his
Is
face.
he,
That's
is
kind of
he
his
a
move.
loud guy or not?
Not really.
Not a-
He's not really boisterous. No,
He's
kind of
not. He's
reserved.
not PJ Fleck. He's not.
No.
he's not
Unless he
PJ
gets
Fleck.
drunk, and then he won't shut up.
Those Boise State guys. They just get nuts.
Well, it's I don't see your list of candidates there. Who stands out for you guys?
We talked about that.
I'm in on Hackett. I don't love that 4 of the 7 are defensive guys, and then
Well, I love Todd Bowles, but you might as well keep Zim. You know, I mean, he's the same guy. You think he's going to be positive when you come off
Yeah.
after screwing something up? I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think he's got a sterner countenance about him than Zim does, but I think he's probably more enlightened than Zim too. So
There might
I
also
wouldn't mind
be.
him at all. I wouldn't mind him at all.
I think what's going to be really interesting here. I think you're right about Kingsbury. There might be some news today or tomorrow on Kingsbury.
Yeah,
I don't think,
gonna-
and I don't think Mike McCarthy's out of the. Especially if you're the Cowboys, and you got and they love Dan Quinn as a coordinator, and they love Kellen Moore as a coordinator, and both those guys, you might have to say, all right, Mike McCarthy, goodbye. Let's elevate one of these two guys to head coach.
Yeah, because middle of the season when they've had their first slump, they were way down on him, and then they came back and played pretty good. But that was an odd hire for Jerry Jones anyway. But
Is there a coach that just looks more confused and perplexed than Mike McCarthy on the sidelines?
Jim Fossil used to, man. That guy was really confused the entire
I
game.
don't know. I saw him on a day where he didn't look confused at all.
Oh, in kicking
yeah.
the Vikings ass?
41 donut.
Yeah.
He looked pretty sure of himself that
that
day.
You know,
when Waswa was running around like as Seifert said, like a dog chasing a frisbee down on when the.
you know why, Pat? Because they had our play calls, okay? They cheated, just like the damn
That's right,
Patriots.
they did.
Everyone cheats us.
Yes.
Why can't we just play a fair level field playing game? That's what I want to
true.
know.
The same, that happens in virtually all our sports. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that works. Why they're
Well-
all out to get us just because it's cold up here? Why do they hate us?
Bastards.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Pat. We'll
All right,
see you.
see ya.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Let's wrap in with Reusse here, Mackie and Judd, and the SKOR North YouTube channel.